now our first round of action today. Adam Bowman, one of my favorites when we do see him. We don't get to see him a ton. You know, he's a Midwestern guy, doesn't travel a ton, but when we do, it's always slivers, and he's always winning with the deck. He's 8-1 this weekend.
Yeah.
A Noble Hierarch here to start things off in round number 10. He always has Aether Vial, too, a master.
Yes.
Sliver Hive Aether Vial, your turn. Like you like to say, he's letting it be known.
Yeah, he makes the terms of engagement pretty clear early on here. He's with his 4 copies of Sliver Hive and his 4 copies of Cavern of Souls set to slivers.
Semerau going to play a Kosali Pride Mage, but no second land for Brandon, unfortunately, so he can't blow up that vial just yet. Looks like there might be another vial, so just in case the first one gets blown up and the second one gets blown up, it's a vial party. He's got 3. Now, vial, obviously a very good card in this deck, but you don't want to draw this many.
You want the 1, and facing down a Kosali Pride Mage, you probably don't mind the second, but the third one is excessive.
Back to Semerau we go. His 3rd turn of the game. Start things off with a Noble Hierarch, a Kosali Pride Mage, and a Temple Garden. Here comes the Pride Mage for 4. 2 Exalted Triggers, 1 from the Pride Mage itself, 1 from the Noble Hierarch. So Bowman going to fall down to 16, it appears.
But the other side of this, even though 3 Aether Vials is probably too many, all the mana denial elements of this Hate Bears deck are now kind of off the table because Bowman's going to be able to function very easily with all these Aether Vials.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be much of a problem at all. Cavern of Souls going to name slivers. And there is a Collected Company in Bowman's hand, though 1 mana away from that at this point. Back to Semerau we go. He's got to want to close this game out as fast as he possibly can because once the Sliver Party gets going, those creatures all work well with each other for obvious reasons, and then they'll probably be too big for Brandon to handle. Gavity Township is land number 2. He's got 3 mana. It looks like it might be a Flicker Wisp. Now, a good place to be for Brandon, actually, is in the air.
Yes.
Without Diffusion Sliver, Adam really can't do much. So a Predatory Sliver is going to slide through the vial. Now the vial will be reset because of Flicker Wisp. So now it's going to be 2 vials at 2, 1 vial at 1 as Bowman will draw a card. He's looking for land number 4.
And that's a heads-up play there by Brandon. That prevents any of the vials from getting to 3 counters this turn, which could enable Sedge Sliver or who even knows?
Yeah. Who even knows Sliver?
Do you know all the slivers?
Yeah. A Diffusion Sliver. Brandon wants to take a look. We can do the same. Diffusion's one of the more complicated ones. We like to call it Frost Titan Sliver here in the booth. Whenever a Sliver creature you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 2 mana. Here comes Flicker Wisp with 2 Exalted Triggers. It's going to knock Adam down to 7.
I'm assuming Diffusion Sliver is one of the key reasons the deck exists.
Yeah.
Especially in your Snapcaster Mage removal type of matchups.
You know, it's not Crystalline Sliver, but I think that's actually kind of a good thing. Crystalline Sliver was pretty busted.
Way over the line.
Yeah.
Way over the line.
Yeah, Crystalline Sliver back in the day when Counter Slivers was a thing many moons ago, that was a Magic card. This is also a Magic card. It's a Blade Splicer. It'll bring a Golem along with it. Ooh, this is a check for Nick Miller's job right here.
Do we have the Golem token?
Standard classic.
We're gonna find out, Nick.
Oh, there's a lot riding on this.
I know.
Online at parents.starcity.games.
Lucky.
Wow.
Whew.
In addition, they will be posted.
Nick Miller remains in the sideboard.
At least for one more day.
Has Adam found land number 4? And you can see his hand. 2 copies of Collected Company. Yes. Now the question is, does he have a green man? You can see a forest down there. So again, the answer is yes. And it looks like it's gonna be a main phase Collected Company.
I'm not a huge fan of the main phase Collected Company in this spot because I think it's, you know, what Bowman hits off of Collected Companies is such a diverse set of things that it's possible he just blows Brandon up in combat if he just passes the turn with 4 mana up. There's so many different lords and keywords and kind of stuff that he can hit. It's very hard for Brandon to know what the right attack is, even if Collected Company is on his radar.
Semerau going to take a look at Sedge Sliver. We will do that as well. Slivers have this creature gets +1/+1 as long as you control Swamp, and black regenerate this creature. He does have a Swamp. Does Adam Bowman? That was land number 4. So he found that. He also found Gale Rider Sliver, which means all the Slivers have flying. So he's got some flying Slivers that have +2/+2, given Sedge Sliver and Predatory Sliver on the battlefield, and are also very difficult to target thanks to Diffusion Sliver.
He's all set up.
He's getting there. He's got another Collected Company in hand, so if he gets to untap, he's getting even more set up.
But this is why I would have held off, I think, for a turn on the Collected Company.
Okay.
Because look what's happening now. It's so hard for Brandon to make informed attacks against that card. So many weird keywords show up.
Oh, here's a Path to Exile. Now, he does have to pay 2 for that because of Diffusion Sliver, so this will be curious. We do have to kind of stop things a little bit here, I would imagine, no?
Stop the match here.
I guess in that instance, Adam just misses the trigger on his own card.
Is Diffusion Sliver a trigger?
Just like Frost Titan. Well, I think that's actually tough to say.
I don't know the exact wording of the card.
Yeah. We'll see what the table spotter wants to do in this situation. Yeah, it says they just counter that. I don't know if there's a.
If you do not have a player
Yep, that's
it feels like at this stage we've gone too far in the game
Right.
now, so it's too much to unwind.
Yeah, this is a trigger.
Yeah.
Whenever is a trigger. So
before we begin round 2,
I guess the technical way it works is you play Path to Exile for a 1.
Okay.
The Diffusion Sliver trigger goes on the stack, and then you pay 2 or you don't. But the trigger has to be announced.
Sure.
to top 8.
Well, then he did miss his own trigger.
Like if you played against Mana Leak on Magic Online, the Mana Leak resolves, and then it says, "Do you want to pay?"
Do you
3
want
or-
to pay 3? Sure.
Yeah.
Judge. So that we can make our way to the table. We are having trouble hearing some of you, so please make sure to project when you put your hand.
Verdant Catacombs is land number 5 here for Adam.
With that said, standard classic.
And he does have another Collected Company.
To round 2 of 8. You have.
Again, now this is a situation where I think you almost assuredly
Good luck.
want to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Adam's going to do. Scavenging Ooze is going to remove a card from the graveyard there on the end step. We head back Semerau's way. Land number 4 is, or excuse me, land number 3, mana source number 4 is a Rage of Verge Thicket. That's why it enters the battlefield untapped. Adam's going to sacrifice that Verdant Catacomb. It's going to go down to 1 with the hope of thinning out the deck a little bit and setting up a pretty healthy Collected Company to find another Gale Rider Sliver.
I'm not sure how I feel about going to 1 in this spot because it's possible Bowman hits a good Collected Company here and is able to survive combat. And Brandon might have to go wide to win this game, and he still has the Blade Splicer in play. So now that Blade Splicer is also lethal,
Okay.
not free to take the 1 point of damage.
Well, here's Collected Company. Top 6. Oh, he actually did find something that can keep him alive, I think. Darkheart Sliver? Sure.
Sweet.
And a Blur Sliver, giving all the slivers haste. Darkheart Sliver says all slivers have sacrificed this creature, you gain 3 life.
It's inspired by Dark Heart of the Woods.
Yes, yes it is.
From the dark.
Yes, get it? The word dark is everywhere here.
It's
this morning.
everywhere.
Yep. Hope to sacrifice 2 slivers to stay alive. Up to 7. And Flickerless is going to be coming across for 5 because of 2 Exalted triggers, so Bowman's going to fall down to 2.
Adam Bowman so close to setting up the Sliver Hive Dark Heart Sliver lock.
A combo, yes.
I guess he needs a Gale Rider too.
That would help.
And then he's got it all sewn up.
He could use quite a few things, I believe. The draw looked to be a red card. Not sure how useful a red one is. Darkheart Sliver wants to get onto the red zone. I like it. Not a great spot for it to attack, of course, but I guess it is a 4/4.
Well, if Brandon's committed to this exalted attack line of play, you have a regenerating attacker. You might as well try to do something here.
All right. Here comes old SCG. That's a 4/4 that has regeneration.
Also, Bowman's got 3 vials in play on 1, 2, and 3, so who knows what he could potentially flash in off his draw step.
Yeah, we don't even know.
We don't know.
Sedge Sliver, one of my favorites. There was also Limited Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Really good card.
Well, so is Sedge Troll.
Also true.
Good luck killing that in your alpha drafts.
Alpha Draft aficionado here, Patrick Sullivan.
Yep.
Blade Splicer's going to jump in front of this Sedge Sliver. I think we're going to see a Restoration Angel here on Adam's end step. We will. That's another flyer. Going to blink out Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp is going to target Darkheart Sliver.
Oh, very sharp here from Brandon. Force the issue here.
Yep. Flicker was quietly one of my favorite Magic cards of all time. It just does a lot of relevant things. Like,
Yep.
that's actually pretty relevant there.
It is all about playing interactive Magic.
This is true.
Yeah, it is, it's what's happening on the board, what are the text boxes on each of our cards. It's a very interactive Magic card.
You would think that card has flash, but no. I think if it had a flash, it'd be too good.
Yes.
Actually.
I mean, it's already a 3/1 flyer for 3 mana.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole lot beyond that to be reasonable for Constructed.
Yeah, it's a heck of a Magic card.
It's a long history of Rashad airships showing up in various Constructed decks.
Brandon Semerau going to win game number 1 here over Adam Bowman early this morning as White Green Hate Bears up a game over Slivers. We'll start with Bowman's sideboard and your Sliver knowledge at home.
A Screeching Sliver, a Cautery Sliver, 3 Harmonic Slivers, 2 Frenetic Slivers, a Telekinetic Sliver, a Siphon Sliver, a Gemhide Sliver, a Sliver Hive Lord, a Homing Sliver, a Spellskite, and 2 Warping Whales. Sure. Telekinetic Sliver seems great
Gotta
for
be
this.
good.
Got to be good for this matchup.
Yep.
I like bringing in the Gemhide Sliver as well. Brandon does not have a lot of removal, and I imagine Gemhide's just pretty powerful against decks that are light on removal. And I can get behind the Siphon Sliver as well.
A little lifelink action.
Yeah, it's probably a damage race matchup at the end of the day.
For Brandon Semerau, he's got 3 Stony Silence, a Pithing Needle, a Linvala Keeper of Silence, a Duskwatch Recruiter, 1 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Gaddock Teague, 1 Aven Mind Sensor, 2 Core Firewalkers, 2 Sunlance, a Dismember, and a Tectonic Edge. So a little bit of removal scattered out throughout the sideboard.
I'm interested in the removal spells, the Dismember, and the 2 copies of Sunlance. I also think this is a solid matchup for Duskwatch Recruiter. Bowman doesn't have a lot of removal himself, and you saw in that game the board got cluttered and bogged down pretty fast. And in that sort of game, I think Duskwatch Recruiter is very powerful. Haven't seen it in Modern yet.
Yep.
Seen some of it in Standard. Seen plenty of it in those damn sealed leagues. But I think given the nature of the matchup, if you're going to have it in your sideboard, it's probably for matchups where the game gets bogged down and you're playing against a deck that doesn't have that much removal.
Well, I guess you an idea what both players are working with here. Adam Bowman will be on the play with his Sliver deck. Hopefully he doesn't draw 3 Vials this time. He needs a little bit more action. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion where you think Slivers would only hang out here at Game Night. But actually, they hang out everywhere, actually, on the SCG Tour as well. But you might find Slivers and some other cool stuff going on at Game Night.
So you can head over to go.starcitygames.com/game-night, get more information. Every month we come up with new kits with pins and tokens. We send them out to the stores that sign up for Game Night. And then the stores themselves set up Game Night however they want to. Any day of the week, any format they want. Just get players in the store on a regular basis for some fun and friendly Magic. This is the May kit you're playing for right now, the Manatiri Mentor.
Well done.
We got some other kits to announce as well. Come down the pipeline. Otter Spell in June, and then in July, the Snipcaster Mage. Again, go.starcitygames.com/game night for more information. Stores, contact your in-store play representative to get set up for Game Night if you don't already have it.
Game number 2 about to be underway here between Adam Bowman and Brandon Semerau. We got Slivers, we got White Green Hate Bears, and throughout all 10 rounds of coverage so far, haven't seen one Affinity deck, haven't seen one Zoo deck, haven't seen one Burn deck, and we've seen one Infect deck?
Correct.
To kick off coverage yesterday, that's it?
And a losing effort as well.
Where are the aggressive decks here in Indianapolis?
A good question.
Slivers is like as aggressive as it gets.
Yep, and even that's on the slower, sort of build up my board and try to kill you around turn 6 kind of deck. It's not a turn 3 deck or turn 4 deck like Infect, Zoo, and Burn.
Very strange. I mean, I'm sure when Nick does his metagame breakdown, we'll have that for you guys later today, around round 12 or 13. We'll get an idea of what aggressive decks are here. Now, I expected, your Abzan Companies, your Trons of the world, but I got to say, I did expect a little bit more aggression here during our stay in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it's surprising. And then the day 2 metagame, or what we saw kind of towards the back end of day 1, looked pretty ripe for some of the aggressive strategies. I think Tron, for example, typically doesn't match up that well against most aggressive decks, and a lot of Tron seem to be doing well.
Well, if they're rocking Fire Spouts, I don't know how you feel about playing against that card.
It's not great, but I still think, they've only got 2, and if they're Fire Spouting you, it usually means they don't have Tron on 3.
Yep.
And if it takes them till turn 4 to do their first thing, your good draws still beat that.
Okay.
Whenever I played Zoo or Burn, when my Tron opponent has opened up on Grove of the Burn Willows as their first land drop, I usually think, all right, they're just dead. Like, there's no way that they're going to be able to beat me without having Tron on turn 3.
Sure.
Even if they're Pyroclasming or spell scouting me, it's just not going to be good enough.
They got to have the goods.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
You need a turn 3 Worm Coil, a turn 3 Karn. You need those kind of draws.
Also, they're kind of cutting back on Worm Coil engines now, too, for cards like World Breaker.
Yep.
Stuff like that, so.
It's a slower deck.
Yeah. Tron has changed. It had to.
Yep.
given their removal of Ugin. But now because the format has, and we talked about this at the beginning, maybe slowed down a little bit, decks like White, Green, Hate Bears, and Slivers can show up with a little bit more confidence.
Well, there's so much power in the 8s right now for Tron. You have World Breaker, you have Ugin, and you have Oblivion Stone plus Activate. And 8 mana means I can assemble Tron on turn 4, because a turn 3 Tron still only gets me to 7. So that changes the way the deck gets constructed a lot. You are willing to play with more red cards in the deck if you're saying, well, I'm not really looking to have Tron until turn 4 anyway, because most of my good payouts are 8 mana or more.
Yeah. It is more of a turn 4 deck now than a turn 3 deck. So that means you get to adjust your deck a little bit.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice. Looks like Bowman going to take a mulligan here, down to 6 cards. So in the meantime, while he shuffles up, to the creature collection is where we're going to go. We talked about game night and some of the cool stuff going on there. Well, Manatiri Mentor is available in playmat, sleeves, and player bundles, so you can get that stuff at StarCityGames.com and also our dealer booth in any of our SCG Tour weekends. And Los Tigre, the Tiger, as well, available in playmat, sleeves, and player bundles, splashing around in the lake there.
Levi also drinks out of the sink.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a bowl like a regular cat. He just has our one sink.
So do you just turn on the faucet, or how does that work?
We have to, yeah. We stop the sink and then we fill it up with water.
We stop the drain. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And
because he is very enabled.
It just jams out of that thing.
Yeah. He won't drink out of a bowl like a regular cat because he is enabled.
Yeah. Go. StarCityGames.com/creature collection for information. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The refusal to drink out of a bowl, you got to draw the line somewhere.
We've had a lot of spots, myself and my girlfriend, where we've had to make the determination, do we want Levi to be well-behaved or do we want him to be cute? And every single time that we've had that sort of crossroads, we've selected, let's have the thing that's cute. Him drinking out of the sink and licking the faucet a little bit, that's cute.
That's cute.
Is it annoying to have to empty out the sink all the time? Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. But every cat drinks out of a bowl, We want, you want a cute cat.
Yeah. Adam was going to scry top card to the bottom. He's got a Gale Rider Sliver. No Aether Vial this time. We'll go back over to Brandon Semerau for his first turn of game number 2. A Temple Garden as he falls down to 18, and Noble Hierarch, maybe the best start he can have. To Bowman we'll go. Gale Rider Sliver will serve across for 1. Flying very nice against White Green Hate Bears, that's for sure.
Yep. A lot of the way that a deck like Hate Bears tries to win in combat is just making the ground really hard to attack through. So getting in the air is awesome. I mean, if Brendan can't break up these Gale Rider Slivers, there's a lot of pressure on him to have Flicker Wisp, which isn't even a very good blocker. Restoration Angel becomes the real prize.
A Ghost Quarter. And we'll see what the follow-up is. It's Scavenging Ooze. And Brandon will pass. Adam will draw. Picked up a copy of Mana Weft Sliver, what's actually pretty important for him right now.
Mana Weft Sliver is what enables most of, when this deck looks like it's doing, busted by the standards of modern sort of stuff, it involves one of the Mana Slivers.
Because colors were going to become a bit of an issue. You see Collected Company in hand, and Adam's inability to cast it, given his lands of Sliver Hive, Mutavault, and Cavernous Souls. Mana Weft Sliver is going to fix that, it appears.
And here, if I'm Adam, I'm just casting Mana Weft Sliver.
Yeah,
here.
I don't want to get too cute.
He's got Collected Company in hand, and he has a Sliver Hive in play. And those are 2 cards that are great with a bunch of mana.
Well, this is interesting, right? Because he's going to play Sedge Sliver. He's got no Swamp. But what he can do next turn is play Mana Weft. He'll have a mana left over and then tap the 3 Slivers for mana to be able to cast Collected Company. So maybe he feels it's just more important to get on the board right now.
Sure. I think this play looks more mana efficient, but Mana Weft Sliver pays so much dividends in mana the next turn that I think it's just more mana efficient to get that card into play. Unless the strategy is I don't want my Mana Weft Sliver to be killed.
Yes.
I want one bursty turn with Mana Weft Sliver. That's a reasonable argument.
Well, here is Mana Weft Sliver. And he'll just pass the turn back.
And this pass is so good because Adam wants to play around a potential Restoration Angel anyway.
Yep.
So it doesn't even look weird that he didn't attack. And now he can cast Collected Company and pivot and start activating the Sliver Hive.
It's very true.
Whew. It's heating up.
You just really want a Sliver Hive activation. I get it. A Stirring Wildwood could play a role in things here. It does have reach.
Yep. That's a good keyword to put on a land. Yeah. Like people are good at keeping track of creature lands in play anyway. Let's give it a combat keyword that's defensive only.
Here's a collected company, top 6 cards. We'll see what Bowman can
find.
Oh
my goodness, Telekinetic
You
Sliver?
can't take that. You can't. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Come
Yes,
on.
4 mana.
What's wrong with you?
I was about to say we're going to game 3. Yeah. We're done. We are done here.
Here's a Sedge Sliver and a Blur Sliver.
Please finish your turn. You have 5 additional turns.
And some blocking to be done. Now we'll take a look at Sedge Sliver one more time.
I think you got to have a swamp.
I'm fairly sure, yeah. This creature gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp and black regenerate this creature.
So you get the regeneration power even if you don't have a swamp?
That's a little confusing with how I think so.
That's how the template implies that that's the case.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Because it's separate powers.
Yeah, and they all have haste because of Blur Slivers.
So we're done. I guess we're still done here. Yeah. Not to be Telekinetic Sliver.
That's weird how that's worded with Sedge Sliver.
I'm sure because this is the way that they designed Time Spiral. If it's worded that way, it's only because Sedge Sliver was worded that way.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Even though when Sedge Sliver was printed in alpha, the only black sources of mana were swamp. I guess you could have a bunch of mountains and Mox Jet and regenerate this thing.
Sure. Yeah, and if you're rich, Mox Jet. Yeah, I gotcha.
I go mountain, Mox Jet, Sedge Troll. Now I got a Mox Jet to so I can regenerate this thing.
Thank goodness.
Whatever. The design sensibilities of Time Spiral was, let's just copy however it was back in the day. But however it was back in the day was often wrong because that's just where
because it was back in the day.
Right. Their focus just wasn't there.
Well, you see the triple block and now the regeneration. Semerau, I think, is going to have another Restoration Angel to save the Scavenging Ooze. He will. So neither player is going to lose anything, and Brandon will add a Restoration Angel to his battlefield.
Oh, Verdant Catacombs.
Yes, Swamp in the house now.
We're
Big
done.
Draw.
Now we're done.
Now, how many times are we going to be done exactly?
Well, we were done before. Now we're definitely done. Now with a Swamp. Forget it.
Got it. It's unclear how many times we could be done in one game. Overgrown Tomb, take that. He's willing to just take damage, doesn't care.
Doesn't matter.
Because we're done.
Yep.
So it just doesn't matter. Now, keep in mind, all of Adam's creatures fly. They've all just got +1/+1 because there's a swamp. But actually, +2, there's 2 Sedge Slivers. And +2/+2.
And any creatures he doesn't want to attack with, he can simply hang back on defense and use them to make mana and pump into the Sliver Hive or Mutavault or whatever.
Yep. Here's a Predatory Sliver. Now Mutavault's, oh yeah, grab them all. And they all have haste too. Yeah, this is a...
This is 1,000.
That's tough.
We're done here.
That's a lot of damage.
As I mentioned before.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Yes, it is. Adam Bowman's going to win game number 2 here against Brandon Semerau. Slivers ties it up against White Green Hate Bears. I don't really think there's any reason to take Adam out of the future match area all weekend.
So that attack with Scavenging Ooze, the outcome of that attack was one of the worst attacks I've ever seen. It's not necessarily Brandon's fault because, again, Collected Company with this deck, it's hard to play around everything. There's so many keywords and stats that can show up.
Yep.
But that outcome was not good.
Look, I'm on the hunt for a deck for Grand Prix Charlotte, and I've proven I'm not above anything.
And
I am not above a single thing.
And I will say that I like the way that Bowman lined up turns 3 and 4 in retrospect because the mana left slip on the 4th turn, he's likely to be playing around a flash creature anyway, like Restoration Angel. So the mana weft sliver and pass conceals his Collected Company so well anyway.
So wait, are you saying that the gentleman who plays slivers at basically every modern tournament's line of play was better than ours in the booth?
Yep, and he also ensured that he got at least one good mana weft sliver turn out of the deal too. Yep. If his mana weft sliver just gets hit with a Path to Exile, his hand's just not nearly as explosive.
They're shuffled up for game number 3. We'll be watching that in just a second, but we just talked briefly about Grand Prix Charlotte, Modern Weekend taking place. Channel Fireball's hosting Grand Prix Los Angeles, Star City Games hosting Grand Prix Charlotte. You can learn more about those tournaments right now.
On May 20th through the 22nd, make plans to be part of Modern Weekend and Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Charlotte. Register for the Modern Format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Jace as he pores over the pages of Tomio's journal. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Jace playmat. Add a premium rewards package and take home a collectible pin, deck box, 80-count pack of sleeves, and playmat, all featuring the iconic Noble Hierarch. Play in select side events for even more chances to win additional Noble Hierarch pins, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats all weekend long. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Charlotte's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprinkle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Rob Alexander. Be part of Modern Weekend and Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Charlotte today.
May 20th and the 22nd, Grand Prix Charlotte, Grand Prix Los Angeles, Modern Weekend taking place next weekend. Hopefully we'll see you at one of those two Grand Prix. I'll be at Grand Prix Charlotte. You will be, yep.
Playing in the mocks on Saturday and then hanging out on site for Saturday after I bust out of the mocks. So 2 in the afternoon approximately. And then Sunday, either playing in the Super Series or basketball near the site, again, depending on how I'm feeling.
In Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, got it. So we'll have a little bit of representation at both Grand Prix for Modern Weekend.
But not in the main event.
No. No. What's it going to take? You know what? You should. I'm going to get you to play in the main event. That's what I'm going to do. Get you a sliver deck.
No chance. There's no chance.
Huh?
There's no chance.
A little sliver strategy?
No.
All right.
Absolutely not.
All right. He's tough. Yeah. You know, I don't want to play green on hexproof again. I'm thinking slivers now. Yesterday I was on Matthias's deck. That red-green Valakut Primeval Titan deck, which I imagine the Slivers deck probably has a difficult time with.
Doesn't seem like a great matchup.
No, not great. But, look, Adam always destroys people with this deck.
Telekinetic Sliver, pretty good against Through the Breach.
It's true.
Just tap that down.
That's true.
No big thing.
Both players can take a look at openers. They're happy. We're underway. Brandon Semerau going to start things off with a Noble Hierarch. Show me a vial. Oh, yeah. Adam Bowman starts it off well. Semerau will draw. Duskwatch Recruiter in the house. Does he have land number 2? Nope.
Although Duskwatch Recruiter, not the worst card to have against someone with Aether Vial. If Bowman's not going to be casting spells, that flips over, and then now you have an extra mana in play. You can start doing some things.
Well, there's another Vial. And Vial is awesome in his deck, as we know. I think he's got another 3 Vial draw. But he's only got 1 land, so it's not the end of the world. Here comes the Duskwatch Recruiter. In for 2, Bowman will fall down to 18. Semerau just going to pass the transform. Just a moment as Adam will vial in the Gale Rider Sliver. Now Duskwatch Recruiter will transform into the Kallen Horde Hauler. 3/3 does make some mana, of course, because creatures will cost 1 less to play. Vial's up 2-1 here for Adam Bowman. You might get a main phase Vial activation. Looks like first there might be an attack. Maybe. It's got a lot to think about. All right, beatdowns. A Vial and a Predatory Sliver. Make it an attack for 2, not just 1. Follow up, 3rd Vial.
And unlike game 1, when Bowman had 3 vials, he is very, very land light here. So his hand's all gas. Game 1, he flooded out and had 3 vials.
Yeah, which is bad.
Yeah, that's too much.
Flicker Wisp, gonna shut down that Vial. So now the Vials are gonna be on 2 1-1 as here comes the Howler.
You know, in the first game, it felt like the 3rd Aether Vial was pretty bad for Bowman, and it feels like this game is shaping up that all 3 vials are going to be good.
I think they're going to be good too, yeah.
Also, Bowman has Telekinetic Sliver.
Oh, here we go.
Which means that soon he'll be setting up the lock.
Vials on 2 1-1. Adam will draw a card. I think he drew old Sledgy again.
And you can see he's holding on to a Mana Weft Sliver right now, so he's setting up towards an explosive turn.
That's the prized possession every time.
You know, you get the Mana Weft Sliver into play. Now suddenly you can collect a company. Then you untap. You have Vials at 2, 3, and 1.
Yep.
Or 4 if you're trying to get Telekinetic Sliver into play. Soon Brandon has nothing he can do.
Lock it in. I'm playing Slivers at the Grand Prix.
If I'm Brandon right now and Bowman's just looking at these 5 cards in his hand and kind of like moving them back and forth, I feel like I've got to be dead. There's no way this is going to be okay. He's basically looking at his hand like a Storm player looks at his hand. Like, all right, so how do I make all the mana that I want to cast 10 mana worth of spells this turn?
Here comes Predatory Sliver. Right into the face of a 3/1. You want some of this, Flicker Wisp? All right,
yeah, no, we're good.
I'll just take it. I'll just take it.
Take it all.
See what comes next here for Adam. Playing against 3 Vials is also just a disaster. It's not fun at all.
Oh, and
That's the look. That's the look.
I mean, Brandon's looking at a path here, and it's so painful to give Bowman a land, especially since path allows him to go get a basic swamp, and Sedge Sliver is one of the cards you have to be worried about.
Yep, very true. And I think he probably wants a basic swamp because of Sedge.
He's got a Sedge Sliver in hand, so
Yeah.
I got to imagine
there's
that's
the
the one.
swamp.
And I don't know if Brandon is aware of how precious his paths are, because again, if he ever fails to answer Telekinetic Sliver,
The game's
it's
over. Yeah.
It's over. There's no way to get back into it. And he's only got the 4 paths plus the Dismembers in the board. The Sunlances don't count anymore because he's not going to have mana on his own main phase.
That's true. All right, what do we got here? Might be a Gaddock Teague. Looks like another Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp taking down these vials is pretty annoying.
Yeah, the Flicker Wisps are very good here. It's pinning down the vials, preventing him from getting to 3. And on top of that, you know, Brandon's got to be attacking in the air because the ground's going to get worse and worse for him.
You saw the land there for Brandon was a Horizon Canopy. Now, will Adam actually ever get to get Telekinetic Sliver onto the battlefield? That's the question. And it's looking pretty tough. Ooh,
Whoa.
Easy.
Whoa.
Do
Whoa.
not show that card.
Of all the cards to reveal,
All right, another Flicker Wisp. All right. Take down this. Here come the beatdowns for 6. All right. Damage is going to resolve, obviously. No way to stop this if you're Adam. I don't think he's got much interest in chump blocking, so. All right, 2 spells have been cast. This stuff is going to come back from Flicker Wisp. Transformation back to Duskwatch Recruiter. Vial up to 2, 2, and 1. Draw a card. Gemhide Sliver is what he's drawn. Can he put all of this stuff out there is the question.
well, Gemhide Sliver gives him a route to cast Collected Company this turn.
Correct.
If he can Collected Company into a Gale Rider Sliver plus X, he can block out a next turn.
Okay.
If he can block out a next turn, he's got a Gemhide Sliver and a bunch of slivers in play and a handful of spells. There's probably a path.
Yeah, he's just got to pass a turn back right now. Transformation going to take place. Transformation's good. So back to the 3/3 is the Duskwatch Recruiter. Draw a card. Restoration Angel. Heck of a magic card. To go along with Gaddock Teague and Kitchen Finks in hand for Brandon Semerau.
Ignore the stuff that's on the ground. This is all about the air right now.
It really is. Now keep in mind, if Adam makes it out of this turn, I think Telekinetic Sliver comes next turn and it's probably over.
If he can keep the Gemhide Sliver in play
Yes.
and enough of his board, then it's very challenging, I think.
All right, there's Gemhide. 4 mana. Company. Top 6. Let's take a look at him. Blur Sliver and Cautery Sliver?
All
I
right.
think Cautery is actually really good right now.
Does that shoot things for?
Yep.
And he's got a Blur Sliver, so they all make mana. So I think all these Flicker Wisps are going to die.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that because he kind of has to do some of the stuff up front because he needs Blurred Sliver and Gemhide Sliver in play the whole time. So he may have to sacrifice some of his Predatory Slivers.
But that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay as long as he survives the turn.
He also has another sliver to vial out. Because he has a mana weft in his hand?
Okay. So, and keep in mind also, Adam doesn't have to kill everything. He's at 7.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to, it's not like every Flicker Wisp is lethal. In fact, if he kills one of them,
He just goes to 1.
yeah.
And 1 is not none, so that's probably okay.
And remember that Bowman dropped the Telekinetic Sliver on the table. Brennan's aware of that. And, I mean, the implications of that with the way the battlefield's shaping up are pretty clear. It's going to be a lock. And he's going to have Sliver Hive. So we're going to have the old opposition plus token generating effect going on, too.
Ever heard of it? All right, so Gemhide is going to add a mana, sacrifice a sliver to Cautery Sliver. This is great. Take down a Flicker Wisp.
This attack has the potential, if Adam wants it, to be everything you have dies, nothing of mine dies. But I think he wants to keep the predatory slivers in play, so he's just going to take some lumps here.
Go down to 1.
Maybe 4. Maybe,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't want to go down to 1.
Remember,
But
Blur Sliver is a 4/4 right now.
Yeah.
So it beats the 3/3 in combat too.
yeah, but what else are you looking to sacrifice here? You know,
I think I'd be okay going to 1. I think. I'd rather be at 4. I guess.
I think I'm happy to trade the Blur Sliver and go to 4 and get the Flicker Wisps off. This looks better to me than trying to kill all the Flicker Wisps.
Yeah.
Because you get to do that next turn if you want to. It's not like your Cautery Sliver's going anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have access to the same play next turn, and this way you untap with a lot of mana, a reasonably healthy life total. This seems better to me. I would just allow this trade to happen. Now, if Brandon makes a move here and plays a Restoration Angel or something else, that could change the calculus. Maybe then you try to kill something else, but this looks fine to me.
So now Blur Sliver's a 3/3, so it will trade.
But you're on 4 with a bunch of mana, a Lord in play, Telekinetic Sliver in your hand, Telekinetic Sliver plus Sliver Hive getting ready to go.
I think this is a relatively good spot.
Yeah,
Feels like it.
I think Bowman's position is commanding enough if he gets to next turn that I'm not looking to do anything too risky.
He wants to take down. Now that's interesting. He wants to take down Noble Hierarch. And he's sacrificing Cautery Sliver to do that. Okay, that's actually going to resolve. All right. And so now these two creatures are going to attempt to trade. This is getting weird.
So Brandon has a mana floating. He could Restoration Angel if he wants to. Looks like he's just letting this trade occur.
So second main phase, probably Gaddock Teague. Yeah, because he wants to try to stock Collected Company, even though Adam doesn't have Collected Company anymore. Bowman's going to untap. He's at 4. Vial up to 3, up to 2. Yep. Draw. Didn't get a great look.
A Mutavault, I think, which is great here.
That's not bad at all. There's Mutavault. So now I think we're going to get Telekinetic.
Yeah.
There are 5 minutes remaining to sign up for today's Sealed Spectacular.
Yep.
So now with Telekinetic, your non-summoning 6 Sliver can tap down the flyer. I think the last card in his hand is a Sedge Sliver.
Which it is.
So if Brandon makes any attack on the ground, that won't work. And then he can pivot over to either just tapping down all the lands and eligible threats every turn, or simply making a token every turn and using that to manage things.
There's a Kitchen Finks. Semerau's going to gain a little life. There's Sedge Sliver. Now Telekinetic's taking over. Vials are going to, let's see if they're going to go anywhere. 3, 3, and 2.
Well, there's not a 4 in the deck besides the 1 Telekinetic Sliver in the sideboard, so we can keep them at 3.
Sinew Sliver was the draw.
But at this point now, Brandon is drawing to Path to Exile or Bust. He is locked out of this game until he can get Telekinetic Sliver off the table, and he can't do it anymore with the Sun Lances in his sideboard because of Sedge Sliver.
Yep.
And just sizing, it's a 4/4 now. Doesn't even work.
And it does not take long for Adam to be able to just turn the corner and kill him because his creatures are so big.
And also, he has the ability to simply tap all his creatures every turn. So Bowman can chill, hang back, build things up, and then when he's ready, attack in one shot.
Restoration Angel with the draw. Attack Flipper Wisp.
Now Brandon can attack on the ground. Now Bowman can use the leftover mana he has here to activate Sliver Hive, get another token to play.
Yep.
That's another mana or another Icy Manipulator, whatever he wants it to be.
Yep. This is a pretty hard lock.
Yeah, you know, he's still drawing to Path to Exile to get out of this. But as you mentioned, he needs to do that fairly fast because Bowman's going to be able to kill him pretty quickly.
Yeah, here's some activation of Sliver Hive. So another Sliver is going to enter the battlefield. Note that it's a 3/3 because of the Predatory Sliver and the Sedge Sliver. And if he vials in a Sinew Sliver, which he's about to, all the creatures get even bigger. So let's go back to Adam Bowman. I think Adam's actually in the spot. No, Blur Sliver is actually really good. I think Adam's in the spot now where all draws are good because like you don't even mind a land.
Yeah,
really?
land's fine.
Yep.
And every spell is, I guess Collected Company is a bad draw because of the Teague.
Sure.
Now all Bowman needs to make sure of is that he doesn't get himself killed by, what happens if your Restoration Angel's in, flashes in Restoration Angel, flashes out the Kitchen Finks, gains 2 more life, am I short of lethal? As long as you avoid that.
Well, he can just play so cautious now.
Yeah, there is no rush here.
Yeah, there's no reason to take a risk at all. Let's see what is this?
Is that a Sliver Cycler?
What?
I think he just Sliver
Oh, is that
cycled.
homing sliver?
I think that was just a Sliver Cycle. I don't know, but that looks like what's happening. Oh, the Super Lock is in.
All right, so that was homing sliver, which just searched up necrotic sliver.
I thought that Bowman had it in the lock before. I discounted the degrees of locks that this deck could generate.
All right, so now he's starting to vindicate things by taking care of Flicker Wisp.
And he's still got 3 Icies up.
Yeah, this is
I sold Bowman short. I apologize. I didn't realize how many different locks were really available to him here.
I guess as he's gonna necrotic sliver is gonna tap down Restoration Angel. I guess homing sliver means you have 2 telekinetic slivers.
In the matchups where telekinetic sliver is likely to be a lock, like it is in this kind of matchup, you probably want the second copy, and it's something that you can collect a company into.
There's a Temple Garden, and there's a battlefield tap. Sedge Sliver is going to tap down a land, which means this is going to force the action from Brandon if he has any action with Restoration Angel. Yep, so now he's forced to cast it. Take 1 from Rising Canopy. Another really good play here from Adam.
And now all the information's on the table, and Bowman's going to be able to kill him very easily.
Yeah. Finks is going to bring him up to 14. Telekinetic Sliver is going to tap down Restoration Angel, untap all the creatures. Keep in mind he's got a Mutavault down there. Going to get to draw a card. That was a Gale Rider Sliver, which means everything has flying. Because sure. Just putting it in a super easy mode now. Yep. Give all my creatures flying. Tap, kill you. Adam Bowman going to win this match here over Brandon Semerau. 2-1. Slivers takes down White-Green Hate Bears, and I think we've had a deck tech with Adam before, but I want another one.